It's just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Fred Sagester, who was a software developer consulting for Fortune 500 companies when a colleague asked if he would install the computer system in his new dental office. 18 years later, Fred now leads a dental technology company regarded as one of the Midwest's most talented and respected. A native of Batesville, Indiana, Fred holds a BS degree in computer science from Franklin College. After graduation, he worked 15 years for various technology consulting firms specializing in writing database management systems. Fred's significant experience in dental technology and computer integration has led him to be noted as one of the foremost system designers and troubleshooters in the field. He has exceptional knowledge in virtually all the leading practice management software packages and digital radiography systems. Several manufacturer suppliers and even some competitors consult Fred on some of their most challenging technology issues. Under Fred's leadership, Sagester Associates Group now supports dental offices in 6 states and maintains bases of operations in Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio. Recently married, Fred and his wife Tammy have 6 kids between them. Add in husbands, soon-to-be wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, and things can get crazy. Their kids range from high school to going off to college in every corner of the U.S., soon to be married and married almost 4 years. With a big family, Fred can always be sure life is not going to be boring. And this is so timely because I was thinking about you all weekend because, my gosh, the biggest thread on Dental Town over the weekend is hundreds of dental offices were hacked across the country. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yes. Yes, you actually, the information you had sent me, I had already read all up, gotten the information before you've got it. We've done a lot of research, looked at everything. It was a pretty big hit to hit about 400 offices, and the ransomware that got spread throughout those offices was really crazy.
So that it was ransomware. It actually happened to my son. You know, we have Dental Town, so we have programmers. My son brought his laptop over here, and my head programmer said, "Just throw it away and go buy another one."
I don't know that you got to go that far, but it can. Once ransomware gets in, it can be pretty complex to clean it up. It's possible, but they're trying to, the whole goal of the ransomware, the criminals that put it in, is to basically turn it into money. That's the whole premise behind crime these days. Besides cybercrime, is basically just turning it, how can I get money out of, different people, prospects, things like that.
So what do you, so you're in the field, you're working this in dentistry all day long. What are you seeing in the field? What exactly is cybercrime, and do dentists really have to deal with it?
Well, actually, they're dealing with it more than they really want to or expect to. It's crazy. Let me see, what is it? About 50 to 60% of dentists have to deal with crime at some point. And crime makes up $2.1 trillion, which is, it makes it one of the world's top 20 economies. So the amount of dentists that are dealing with it, and the reason they're dealing with it is because they don't take the steps necessary, because they're usually, in most cases, a small 1 or 2 owner shop that don't have the IT resources or don't know that they need to be protected. And most of them, statistics show that most of them don't have the protections they need. They don't follow it. Nobody's watching or monitoring it. So it becomes the low-hanging fruit, which is why criminals are going after healthcare in general, and especially dental.
Yeah. So, what is your, like a dentist does a filling, a crown, a root canal. What are the main things that you offer at Sagester.com?
We do, and we do a full a full support, but we offer just a cybercrime or a cybersecurity package. If you actually go to sagester.com/cyber, it's the 8 top things that we offer. It's all in one package. The big thing on all of these, and I'll go through them, is we're monitoring them. It's not just antivirus. For example, many dentists go out and purchase an antivirus, they install it and say, okay, we're good. The difference is the antivirus subscription might run out, or they get some kind of breach and don't realize it. The thing is that nobody's watching it. So with this, the cyber protection that we offer, we actually monitor it all the time. If you turn to that website, it's the 8 top things. We offer a business class antivirus. It's an antivirus you cannot buy in the store. You can't buy it online. If you were to go to the company and say, I want to buy your antivirus, they'll say, a minimum of 200 seats, or we don't really want to talk to you. We want bigger level enterprise. And it's designed to prevent against ransomware. And for example, I'll give you, we had a longtime client that had 3 practices and retired, sold to a corporate. Okay. And they said, we got to cancel your service. We're selling, I'm retiring, which we understood. We were slow removing our antivirus because we can control it completely from our side of things. We were slow in removing our antivirus from their systems. It just meant they had extra protection, so it wasn't a big deal. About 3 weeks after they had canceled and the corporation who has their own IT department took over, on a Saturday we get an alert. And we called the office and said, are you having problems? Even though they're not a client, we kept them updated. Turns out the entire corporation across the U.S. from this IT corporate dental company, every one of their offices had been hit by ransomware, except for these 3 offices that this dentist still owned, which stayed protected. So even corporations are having, they're having problems trying to keep up and watch their security. But our antivirus had beaten it, had defended against it when, even a major corporation across the U.S. had problems. That's the first thing. The second one is a firewall, and many offices will say, "Yeah, I got a firewall." Well, it's the firewall that comes with your internet provider is what they usually have, and that's not. It's not really a protection. It's more of a stoplight. Meaning, if you go onto the internet and you log in, you go to a website, it says you asked for the website, I'm giving you the data. You asked for it. This firewall is what it does is it has another layer of checks, meaning it checks the data coming in. It has subscription to it similar to what an antivirus would, to where it will check and make sure the data is good even before it gets to the workstations where the antivirus checks it again. The firewall, a good way to know if you have a good firewall, if you paid anything less than $1,000 for your firewall, it's probably not going to be that good. It's a general rule of thumb. Our package includes backup. It backs up every evening. It's completely encrypted, completely HIPAA compliant. Again, if the backup has a problem and doesn't work, we get alerted immediately. So we know we can take the steps to fix the backup so there's no problems. About every office I walk into, I ask them 2 questions. Do you have a backup? Everyone will say yes. And then I'll say, well, can you prove it? About 60% go, well, they tell me I have a backup. This one sends you a report every day so you know you have a backup. It's less that the doctors are either not checking it or they don't know anything about it, or they just assume that the office manager or the IT company or whoever handles it, we try and keep the office as informed as possible on things like that. We go down to Windows patching. Microsoft puts out security updates on an ongoing basis. Okay, and the security updates will basically never stop. They'll always find a problem. For example, Windows XP, everybody knows it. It was around for 10 plus years. Okay, a week after XP was retired, somebody found a security hole in it that had been around the entire 10 years. So the patching is going to continually happen. We make sure all of your machines are patched. Secure email. There's many offices that don't realize they need this or don't have it. Any patient information you send electronically needs to be sent securely. And the thing with this secure email is it doesn't change your email address. It allows you to send patient information to specialists, to other practices, to patients securely from your email address. If you're using Outlook, for example, it's as easy as a button that says send and a button that says send secure. So it's pretty simple to do it. And then we get down to the things that little to no offices are doing, things like staff education. One of the things that we cannot defend against using our software tools is the human factor. Okay. There's things that the staff clicks on or brings in, plugs in that we can't necessarily defend against. Well, we have an educational platform that they can go in and look how to recognize a scam email. There's a number of different educational classes, tools, videos that they can watch, and we can add more if the office wants a particular topic. That can always be added. We also do dark web monitoring. If you've ever heard of the dark web, or are you familiar, Howard? You familiar with the dark web, how it works, anything along those lines?
Yeah, I am, but I want to go back to where we started, and that is, these guys were 400 dental offices in Wisconsin. It was they were using their state dental society. I mean, it's the Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Dental Association, which is the leading voice of approximately 3,000 members. The Dental Record is a dental supply company and subsidiary of the Wisconsin Dental Association. So here's guys in Wisconsin, my homies, and they're members of the Wisconsin Dental Association. That's their only voice. That's their parents. Like them or not, they're your parents. They own the Dental Records. It's a supply company subsidiary. And so it seems like they did everything right, and they're all hacked. 400 people are hacked in, and they paid a ransom. It was a Percasoft. I'll just read you because there's might be some people listening didn't hear it. So it happened what day was it? It happened on my birthday, August 29th, last Thursday. Hundreds of dental practices in the United States have had their computers infected with ransomware. The incident is another case of a ransomware gang compromising a software provider and using its product to deploy ransomware on customer systems. In this case, the software providers are the Digital Dental Record and PerCsoft, two Wisconsin-based companies who collaborated on DDS Safe, a medical records retention and backup solution advertised to dental practices in the United States. Over the weekend, a hacker group breached the infrastructure behind the software and used it to deploy REvil Sonotivity, sounds Russian, ransomware on computers at hundreds of dental offices across the U.S. The Digital Dental Record and PerCsoft are now sharing a decryptor with their impacted dental offices. First of all, do you think to me, it makes me wonder if maybe dental associations should learn from this and not get into the cloud hosting services for dental offices. I mean, it's kind of like on my website on Dentaltown for 20 years. People have said, well, why don't you take a credit card so we can do this? Like, dude, I don't want to hold your credit card number. You hold it. Give it to your mom to hold it for you. I don't want it. Do you think do you think this is a wake up call to dental associations that maybe they shouldn't get into the cloud hosting arena?
Yes, definitely. It's if they're going to look at doing it, get to an expert that they can outsource it to, partner it to. There's a reason, for example, there's a reason that we don't do, that we don't do certain aspects of the dental industry. We stick to what we're the experts at. I know that the different state dental associations want to offer more to their members, but they're not being protected like they think they are. And many of them go in and say, yeah, we're protected, and they really aren't, which is the problem.
Well, I mean, hacking is no longer just some crazy guy in the basement on his laptop. I mean, some people are saying that China has over 100,000 employees that work for the Chinese government official agency to hack. Russia, North Korea. I mean, these are no longer, guys in the basement. These are sophisticated operations.
Correct. China, you mentioned China, for example, it's unit 61398. These guys go to work every day to hack into American businesses. That's their job. And what's crazy is they publish a 5-year plan. They don't care that everybody knows. This is what we're going for. This is the American businesses we're going to hack into. Number one's healthcare. Number two, small businesses of that top 5. So every dental falls into the top 2 because they're just the easiest to hack into. So there's a lot of things they're defending against that have a ton of resources. In the Ukraine, there's organized crime. And it's crazy, the organized crime, when they were arrested a few years ago, they had kept all of their receipts. In over a 3-year period, they made over $500 million. They had LinkedIn accounts, they had Facebook, Twitter. They advertised jobs on Monster. I could show you a picture of the building. I could show you pictures of their team building exercises they did, and that's what they did every day. They built what officially they were building was an antivirus. What they were actually building was giving you a virus and then give you the antivirus to defend or to inoculate it. So the dentists don't realize there are a ton of people that have a whole lot more resources than they have that they're trying to defend against.
So bringing this down to reality, you were getting ready to talk about the dark web. I mean, you and I were just at the Louisville Dental Association meeting. What are you seeing when you're in the real world out there calling dental offices? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What do you wish they all would do? What is really bothering you where you're rolling your eyes?
It's just the basics. Even the top 3 or 4 things, I see the overwhelming majority of dental offices don't even have those. Things like just a business class antivirus, the firewall, remote backup, and Windows patching. You're down to well under 50-40% that have all of those, and it's probably even less.
Okay, name me in. You say 50% or less of the dentists have the basics. What are the basics?
Your business class antivirus.
Class antivirus.
Mm-hmm. You see many dental offices that will they'll go buy a residential type antivirus, or they'll download a free one. Free antiviruses protect from about 65% of viruses. You need something that's a 99+%. So
Do you have any names you recommend?
the antivirus we use is called Sentinel One.
Spell it.
Sentinel.
Sentinel antivirus.
Sentinel One. SentinelOne.com.
Okay.
This is the one that it's an enterprise level type antivirus. And that will protect you against, well, we've not had it beaten yet, and I've got 3,500 endpoints out there. So things like the bigger names that you hear of, McAfee and Symantec, they're good. They're just not as good as an enterprise level.
Yeah, and it's hard to beat free. I mean, like say I have a friend who's really, really sick, and it's just beyond his comprehension to think, well, maybe the doctor that's closest to your house in your small backward town of Nowhereville isn't the best guy to be treating this. I mean, so it's so the basics are a business class antivirus and software, and you're at sentinel1.com.
A firewall. This is not the firewall that comes with your internet provider. Okay. This is a business class firewall. It will have a subscription base to it. It can do, and it can be complex to manage. It's not the thing of where you just plug it in and let it go. It does things like country blocking. In all of our firewalls, I can turn off every country that's not America, for example. So the whole China, Ukraine, we can take care of in one fell swoop because they just cannot. It won't let them in, and the office can't get to any websites outside of America. Can't get to any servers outside of America. Every once in a while we'll get an office that says, I buy things online. It's in a server in Denmark. Well, we just turn on Denmark, but we can control country by country what they can get to.
So what's the business class firewall? What's the one you recommend there?
We use one called Sophos, Sophos.
Sophos. And what you like about it is you can turn countries on and off?
Yes. Yep. The higher level firewalls, besides having a subscription to it and it checking the data, I can do things like completely blocking out countries. So we can put a dome just over America to where we at least limit some protections to that.
Yeah, I have heard about that turning off countries, but I don't know if I should share with you how I know about that because it's so darn weird. But I'm going to have to tell you anyway. It's just so bizarre. So I was lecturing, and if you're a dental lecturer, you're always in Vegas, right? It's a hub, and so we were lecturing there, and the meeting next to us was actually a big meeting for home dancers. I don't even know what that genre is called, but anyway, the most important thing about this lecture in the franchise is that people who wanted to do this were afraid that some of their family would find them, and the feature was that you could turn off up to 5 states. Now this was 10 years ago, so
right.
So you could be doing something that you wouldn't want your mom to see. But you could back then when they were lecturing next to me, they could turn off 5 states. But now, is it still limited to 5 states, or is it now it's countries?
Yeah. Now this is more of a security. Something like that would be more, I'm assuming, like advertising based, to where you could limit. You could limit where your ads would go. I'm assuming. I'm trying to completely figure out, what exactly they were talking about. The reason we don't take out different states is because the different companies have servers and backup servers in different locations. So like if I'm in Indiana and I'm looking to, say I'm a dental office and I'm looking for different insurance and I'm going to different websites, it may be in the East Coast, and if the East Coast one's down, it reroutes me to the West Coast. So it's something that's really hard to do. It's a matter of finding a good balance between making sure the dental office stays functional and keeping them completely secure. So that's why we just do America.
All right. So continue more with the basics.
After the firewall, you have a remote backup. This was the thing that got recently hit. The backup across all of them, it needs to be monitored. Your backup needs to be watched to make sure it's working. Okay. That's one of the big problems is offices don't watch it. They go back to doing dentistry, which is what they should be doing. But a remote backup, it will encrypt. You want a backup that is HIPAA compliant, that is going to encrypt your data and send it to both coasts, for example. You get that way if something on the East Coast has a problem, you've still got another backup spread out. We also make the same encrypted backup on an external hard drive that stays in the office. Okay, it's not something that you take out of the office, you leave it plugged in. The reason being, if your server has a problem, we can restore from that backup very quickly. Okay, much quicker than bandwidth to download the data. But if your building burns down, we've got the data offsite. It takes away the human error. You've got practices that say the doctor or my office manager takes it offsite. Those usually are not encrypted, or they forget, or the backup doesn't happen, things like that. This is an encrypted, automated backup that's monitored. And then the last one, the fourth one, Windows patching. Make sure that that your windows are always constantly updated securely. Patches from Microsoft, and every software has a patch, meaning what the software company is saying is, oops, we missed something or we screwed up, and here's a little fix for it. Okay, and it's everything. It's across every practice management. It's across the operating system. It's across every software that exists. This one just happens to be your operating system, which is what controls your security and everything that you run on. We make sure those patches are installed. You need to make sure Windows is updated, and every once in a great while, it happens about not quite once a year, Microsoft puts out some kind of patch that just screws with the dental world. You just want to make sure that those are not installed, because it'll come in and then your practice management won't work, and you'll have no idea why. It'll have weird errors. So you have to kind of find the balance again.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Microsoft? I mean, isn't it embarrassing? I mean, my whole dental career, from when I got out of school, you start buying this Microsoft software. I mean, every release they had was just filled with bugs. I mean, and that guy never cared about quality for a minute. I mean, the other day I heard him lecturing on TV about how the world needs to make a better toilet. And I swear to God, I wanted to reach in the TV and pull him out of there and say, well, gosh, the guy who made the most horrible software for 30 years, they still release software with bugs in it. I mean, so do you think dentistry would have been luckier if we all would have gotten Mac? I mean, are there a lot less ransomware attacks if a dentist was running everything on Mac and Apple?
Well, Macs have problems too. Every software has a patch. The thing you have to take into account is all of the millions and millions of computers that are all different in their configuration. And all the software that people put into it that's not made by Microsoft. So maybe there's a conflict somehow. It has a memory problem that's actually the problem of the software, not Microsoft's operating system, but the operating system gets blamed. So it's a matter of, for example, having one dental technique for every single mouth across the U.S. It's just, you can't do it. You have to make adjustments here and there. You're going to be putting out updates all the time. To talk about the kind of the Mac question, the majority of the dental software is dictated, is going to dictate the operating system. So you're looking at, if you want to go to Mac, you've really only got a few choices for practice management, imaging. It really limits. That's just the way the industry is.
But
just one of those.
In your lifetime, what percent of the software that Microsoft releases do you think they know has bugs in it?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, because every software ever released has bugs in it.
I'm reading right now on Microsoft-related bug reports up 121%. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have Dental Town, but it just seemed to be so unethical that you would pay all this money for some Microsoft software, and then you'd have to pay some tech guy to come out and fix all the patches and bugs, and he'd be sitting there the whole time complaining about Microsoft. It just seems like, I don't know. It just seems like they've never ever cared about quality, and I don't care how much money Bill Gates gives away and what he does for malaria and all that kind of stuff. That's all great, but as far as a businessman, I just thought he was an unethical guy. I mean, he purposely sold software filled with bugs because it was just about money, and now he's Mr. I'm going to give everybody a clean toilet. But we were talking about the basics, and you said business class antivirus, and you recommended Sentinel. Business class firewall, you recommended Sophos. What are more of the basics that need to be done?
The remote backup and the Windows patching that we talked about. Then you get into those are the four big ones.
Remote backup and Windows patching. And what do you recommend for the remote backup?
There's a few different options. You want a business class remote backup. You don't want. I'm sorry to say this, but you don't want Mozy. You don't want Carbonite. They're a good backup, but it's more residential based. You need something that is going to be secure, that you can also get back quickly.
And what's that for you? What company is doing that for you?
We're using it's kind of branded in our own, but we use a backup system that's called Cloudberry. You're not necessarily going to see it called Cloudberry because the MSPs that use it brand it their own way. We put our logo on it, and it becomes ours. And then we use it encrypts the data coming out of the dental office and then stores it into a server. And there's different options for server storage space that's out there. And Cloudberry would use some different ones. But the key thing is the data is encrypted before it leaves your office. So even wherever it's being stored, if that storage unit gets hacked for whatever reason, the data is just garbage because it's encrypted. So you're protected. The dental office is protected.
Okay, and then what the last one you said, Microsoft patches, and you're saying it just happens, and I'm just saying that I don't know. I have a very hard problem with that company. And in fact, they bought Skype. We're Skyping right now. They bought that, and now they bought LinkedIn. And I just thought, okay, so now LinkedIn and Skype has no chance of ever being a Mercedes-Benz or a Lexus. It will be somewhere between a Chrysler and a Model T because it's bought by the American company Microsoft, where it's just about money, 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 money. And we're the ones that will have to pay for this. But anyway, so how do you recommend Windows patching for the horrific Bill Gates Windows?
That's going to be from your MSP, from your IT support company, that they're going to use some type of monitoring tool. And there's a number of them out there. You can't, the dental office can't go out and buy it. It's a higher level tech tool that watches the computers and makes sure they're updated.
So do you use something? I mean, what do you use? What technology do you use?
Yes, we have a company called Synchro. There's Autotask. There's a couple of the big ones. There's Autotask. There's ConnectWise.
But you use Synchro?
Synchro. It's the dental office would never see this. It's syncromsp.com. syncromsp.com. It's a platform that handles the remote monitoring. It does things like ticketing. It helps us keep track of the problems an office might have, where the fixes are, notes, things like that.
So then is that then your base? Is that the four basics then? Business class antivirus, business class firewall, business class remote backup, and Windows patching with. Is that the majority of the four basics?
There's another four which I see less and less. Things like secure email. That's a HIPAA regulation. And we get more and more dental offices are realizing for HIPAA they have to have secure email. So I'm seeing it more often, but there's still, it's less than 30% of offices that I'm seeing that have secure email.
It's
which
less
is
than 30%?
Yeah. I mean, it's just from my personal, and I've seen it in a lot of dental offices, there's just not that many that are following the regulation and getting the secure email.
And what software do you recommend for secure email?
We use a company called Neo Certified. I think there are some secure emails you can get. There's some dental practices that are, there's some dental organizations that are getting into the secure email business, similar to like the backup, and trying to offer that. But that's just a tool that we use. There's a number of different secure emails that are out there.
So you like Neo Certified, and so you're saying that that's considered a basic, yet only 30% of dentists are doing it.
Yes. I'm gonna get into even the next three. I'm gonna get into what we would call a basic that I could get down to less than 1% of dental offices are doing it.
All right, you say three more. And what are these called? The basics of the basics. The
basics of cybersecurity.
Of dental office cybersecurity, or just cybersecurity.
This can work across the gamut for all different types of corporations, all different types of businesses, but especially in dental offices.
Okay. So continue. Is antivirus, firewall, remote backup, patching, certified secure email. What else?
Staff education. Many, especially your front office, gets emails all the time and don't realize that it might be a scam email, for example. They've gotten, we've had calls from offices that said, I've got a virus. Can you come out and help? It was a resume that they had posted a job looking for a hygienist, and somebody, a hacker, sent them a resume for a hygienist. And as soon as they opened it, it installed, it breached their system. So there's a few different things, and this is just one part of the staff education. In every email, there's there's some little markers that you can tell that it's a scam. So it's if we teach the company, we teach the staff to look for before they click on anything in any email, look for one or two things. And then they get used to it. Then it eliminates a big percentage of problems just by noticing these couple things. And what's crazy is the scam emails. If I were to take two emails and put them side by side for you, and say which one's a scam, in many cases the scam emails look better than the actual email coming from the company.
Huh. Now, when you're talking about staph, there's over 30 types of staph bacteria. Which one of the bacteria are you talking about?
No, you're like your dental staff, your front office.
I know, that was a joke. I was trying to be funny.
Wrong kind of staff. Yeah. I'm a computer geek, remember?
I didn't know if they were Staphylococcus aureus or staph. But anyway, so they're opening up email. Is it just say no to opening up anytime someone sends you a PDF or? I'm getting my email of the day is someone left me a voicemail. So they emailed it to me, and I'm supposed to open it up and listen to a voicemail. Of course, I haven't done any of them. And
the first thing is, if you don't know the email, you don't recognize the sender, don't open it. In some cases, that's kind of a first rule of thumb. If you get something that's I just don't know who it is, somebody that but it looks a little off, pick up the phone and call them. Did you send me an email? I'm looking at this and not sure about it. You'll find it many times they'll go, no, sorry, I was hacked and this information is being sent out. And then you get cases like, you get a dental office will get an insurance related email. Well, they need that. They need that to be able to work. So we teach them how to look at two or three quick things. They're never going to ask you that it's never going to be a doc file that's attached, like a document file attached to the email. Don't open those. Those always have some kind of problems. That's the easiest way to get in. If you're not sure, if you get an email from a company that says, click here to open, instead of clicking on the link, type in the website, go to the website directly and type it in. So you may get here's an alert, you have a problem, click this link to log in. Well, from your bank, for example, instead of like Citibank, instead of clicking the link, go to citibank.com and use your login that way. If there's a problem, it'll be there.
So for staff education, you have a web-based training program. Is that what you?
It's a web-based training portal that we have, and we can do. We do other training besides just cybersecurity. We can do office type training. We can have the office say, I need training for my practice management, and we can load that. We can do custom-based training. We can do anything that this portal can basically handle anything.
Nice. Okay. So do most of your clients utilize this staff education, or how's that been working?
Yeah, we've got some that are using it. We can keep track, meaning the doctor can say, okay, I've hired a new employee. I need you to go in and watch these 10 things. We can keep track to say they've completed them, or they haven't. The doctor can know. I went home and did them. No, you didn't. You watched 2. So we get this. It can be tracked.
Okay. So how many more basics do you have?
A couple more.
Good.
Dark web monitoring. I don't know if you're familiar with the term, the dark web. I'll do the generalized term for it. What most people are used to seeing is what's called a surface web. And anytime you do a Google search, any type of website that pops up is all surface web. Okay, and that's really only 3 to 4% of the total internet. You get the deep web, which is things like businesses that don't necessarily want you. They're not a website, but their employees might use it, but it's not something they give to the public. And then you get the dark web, which is really where the crime happens. For example, and there's specific tools you can use to go find the dark web. It's like going down a back alley and knocking on a door 3 times and the window opens and you say the password. I mean, it's that type of, if you put it into a kind of a real world type of scenario, that's the kind of, you got to know where to go. You got to know how to knock. You got to know what the password is. But 2 people can come together, for example, and buy and sell different things, credit card information, breached information, and neither one knows who the other one is. So they can both be completely anonymous, both make the sale, exchange money, and neither one knows who the other one is. And many times they're selling financial information, they're selling personal information, they're selling usernames and passwords. We do dark web monitoring for usernames and passwords. And what we're doing is, and this is for everyone. For example, I spoke when we met a couple weeks ago at the Kentucky Dental. I did a session, and I had an envelope. I had a red envelope, and I asked if I pulled out a doctor's name, and I said, Dr. So-and-so, are you here? And they raised their hand, and I asked them, would you be my guinea pig? They reluctantly shook their head, and I opened the envelope, and I told them every address they'd ever lived in. I told them all their phone numbers. I gave them their email addresses. I gave them the businesses they had. I just had it. Okay. I listed off relatives. I could tell them their mother's maiden name. I could tell them all this. And then I said, and this I did kind of in front of the entire, there was almost 90 in the session, almost 90 people in the session. And I said, I had a piece of paper. I said, and are these your passwords? And I handed them a piece of paper that had, you've got passwords that you don't tell anybody. And some random person that you're in a session just walked up and handed you all of your passwords. The doctor, I had them all. I mean, I just handed it to them to where I can do that with, 60% of the people, their passwords are out there. We monitor that dark web. So when a password is compromised, then we alert the office. You need to go in and change some passwords. This is what's happened. Similar to a bank doing fraud protection on your credit card. I did a, it honestly doesn't matter. I mean, I could pull up any company and have thousands of compromises that are out there. They just are. And the way to explain it, the way it happens, people are like, well, how's my information out there? That doesn't make any sense. The way it happens, for example, is, let's say you go to buy a video game for your kid, your grandkid. You go to Target online, and it says create an account. You go, okay, you create an account, your username's your email address, your password is probably the password you use across the board for everything. 80% of the people do it that way. So you order the video game, your kid's happy, they're having a grand old time. Target gets hacked. Okay, well, you say Target doesn't get hacked. Target got hacked a few years ago. Okay, big companies get hacked. The banks immediately turn off all the credit cards. They flip one switch and account numbers change, credit card information changes, they send you new credit cards, all that gets defended against. The thing they don't do is your username and password are now out there, and it's being bought and sold by criminals on the dark web. So if I get a hold of, now this doctor that I was speaking to, I've got a hold of their email address. I've got a hold of their password. I know their mother's maiden name. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes I can even tell them their dog's name. So now I've got a basis of, if I'm looking to breach their information, I've got a basis. The more I know about them, the easier it becomes.
You know what I always use for my password?
What's that?
If they say it's like 6 letters, 8 letters, 10 letters, it doesn't matter. If they say 10 letters, I use the last 10 letters of pi.
There you go. And you're still working on it? Have you?
What are more of the basics? So you do the dark web monitoring, which you said is the majority of the internet. Oh, by the way, I got to ask something totally unrelated, because it is related. There's a bunch of dentists on Dentaltown that you said you didn't want to be a conspiracy guy or whatever, but some of them they're always asking about Bitcoin. Now there's a company, Dental Bitcoin. Do you see Bitcoin kind of like the dark web, the deep web, kind of mostly a criminal enterprise, or do you think it's a real thing, and someday the biggest banks on Wall Street will all be doing it?
It is a legit now. There are investors that buy Bitcoin just like they would buy and sell a foreign currency. It's a currency that has value. It can, and there are more banks. There are businesses getting into accepting Bitcoin. It can be, the big thing about Bitcoin is it can be done anonymously, or in a way that can be used for crime, but it can also be used for purchasing different products. It's becoming, I cannot remember his name. There was a guy, I read a story a few months ago that he was the first Bitcoin millionaire. He had bought Bitcoin early on. It went up in value. He sold it, became a millionaire.
Wow.
So Bitcoin is just the tool. It's not the crime.
Okay. Actually, I think the best password is incorrect. That way, if you type it in wrong, your computer will remind you what your password is.
Your password is incorrect.
So back to the basics.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one.
But on the dark web monitoring, you said you do that. Is there a software that you use, one that you recommend? You cannot.
An office cannot get to it. We do a lot of dark web monitoring. We monitor forums. We monitor. We have people that act as criminals sometimes, going out buying and selling different credentials. It's to say to tell an office, here's where you go to do it. It just, you can't. It's like telling, it's like telling a patient, here's where you go to buy your amalgam. You can't do it. The patient can't do it. The dentist has to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But there's over 5,000 different forums we monitor. We've got people that go in and act as criminals, buying and selling the information, to where we can put all the data into our database to be able to to monitor everything.
Yeah. So then, what was the next basis? Basics. Phishing.
The last one is it's a simulated phishing attack. Phishing is one of the things that we cannot defend against with tools because it brings in the human element. A phishing attack is a scam email, for example, trying to get you to click on something that will give access to the criminal into your system. And what we do is we do a simulated phishing, meaning we're going to send out a fake scam email to an office. And what we'll do is the markers are in there, the steps that we teach to say, look at these things to determine if it's a scam, they're in there, okay? Because all scam emails have it. And what we do is we'll do a simulated phishing attack, and then if they click on it, we just keep the statistics. Nothing bad happens to the office itself. And what we're doing is, okay, we did a phishing attack, last week, and 80% of your office clicked on it. We need some more training. We'll go through, we'll do the staff education, teach them more things, and then we'll try it again in another month. Okay, now we're down to 30%. They're getting better. So that type thing to where we can try and get the office to be a victim of a scam without actually having something bad happen, and then teach them what happened. Okay, here's the email. Here's what you needed to look for. So we do that type of thing. And I don't see that in offices at all. They just don't. They're even the bigger corporations, rarely do you see they do some kind of simulated attack. It just doesn't happen.
I only click those when I have to, like when they inform me that like a hot single divorced woman just moved in next door, and then you have to click that one.
In that case, it's okay, but on the other stuff.
Yeah, and the worst one we had in our office, I'm not going to say his name because he felt so bad. It was one of the docs, you know what I mean? And this guy, he's probably the smartest guy that's ever worked at our dental office, and he said it was so bizarre. He said he knew right as he was clicking, and he was thinking, well, I'm not going to click that. That's scam. But he was going through the emails, cleaning out his delete box, and he clicked it when he knew, just as he knew, and it was just a disaster.
And everybody does. We do simulated phishing attacks on ourselves. On my staff, we do simulated phishing attacks, and I've done it before. You get busy, you don't think about it. What we're trying to do is make it so ingrained in your head that these are the things you look for, that we can reduce the percentages of having a problem.
Yeah. So again, so how long have you been in dental now?
Started in 2001, so 18 years.
So so where's the line going? Is it getting worse in time or better in time? Do you think eventually this problem will go away, or will it get worse?
On cybersecurity, it's only going to get worse, meaning more complex. There are new things coming out. For example, I don't know if you've read the story. There are now hackable lightning cables for your iPhone. I don't know if you've read this story or not. It came out in the last couple weeks. I can take a lightning cable, the white cable that you use to plug in your iPhone, and put some code into it to where when you plug it in, I now have access to your computer. So, even then, basically don't borrow anyone's lightning cable. Use only yours, buy them only from a store. It's getting to that to where people, it's like, why would I need a lightning cable? How are you going to load this? So more and more complex things are coming out and making it worse, getting harder to defend.
We just passed an hour, but I want to ask you the same question when we started. I mean, again, my homies in Wisconsin, they were doing everything right. They, the Wisconsin Dental Association, It was their company, their services. They all went to sleep at night thinking, God, the Wisconsin Dental Association is taking care of me. How does my homies know if the IT company, I mean, why should I trust you if these guys did any work trusting the Wisconsin Dental Association?
There's a few things I tell. Yeah, no, there's a few things I tell offices to do. One, ask them how many dental offices do you support? Okay, if they say I do dental, well, does that mean 2 or 3? Or does that mean 200 or 300? You know, the dental industry is very specific in how it needs protected. So you want an expert that'll do it. And then you get in security. Ask them, if you're looking at hiring an IT company, ask them, how many times do I get attacked a day? Okay. If they go, you don't, you're good. Or they go, 1 or 2, but we've got them defended. They're not digging into it deep enough. Our offices on average get 1,500 attack attempts per day. Every single office gets attacked or attempted 1,500 times every day. I could pull up log files of attempted attacks and print it out the size of a book.
And I know everybody's national because everybody's tribal. Everybody thinks their tribe's the best. But I've heard up to 1/3 of all the hackers are actually Americans living in the United States of America. I mean, we all like to blame it on another tribe, like, oh, it's those Russians or Chinese or North Koreans. But I'm reading 30% of them are Americans.
Oh yeah, it's not. I'm not trying to say it only happens outside of America, because it happens across the world in America. 86% of hack attempts happen inside of America. 86% of the worldwide attempts are inside of America. And that's across the board. It doesn't matter what.
You mean the guys trying to hack or the ones getting hacked?
The attackees, 86% of them are in America.
The attackee's the one trying to hack into you.
No, the hack attempts.
Okay. The hacker's the one doing it, but the target, the target is Americans 86% of the time.
86% is in America.
Yeah, because money's the answer. What's the question? They're probably looking for money.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. Because it's not the way it used to be. If a hacker could get in, the first thing they want to do is screw with your system, make you have problems. It doesn't work that way anymore. Now they want to get in and not let you know, because the longer I can stay in, the more data I can feed myself and turn that into money. And these hack attempts, these breaches, for example, if you've read Yahoo got attacked, all these big breaches. Under Armour just got breached not too long ago. The MyFitnessPal. These don't happen in a matter of minutes. Okay, it's not jump in, steal the data, and jump out. This happens over months. They're in there not being detected and feeding themselves data months and months over time.
I was reading a article by Condoleezza Rice, and basically she was trying to sound a fire alarm that Russia and China want to win the war on cyber war, and she does not think America or the Fortune 500 company is taking it serious enough. Do you agree with Condoleezza Rice that America, from military to business to dental offices, aren't taking this serious enough?
I can't speak to the other industries. I can agree completely that dental offices aren't taking it seriously enough. The thing they don't realize is in any dental office, the number one most important thing is data. It's not the doctor. It's not a big expensive piece of equipment. If a doctor goes down, you can have a sub in a week. You're going to lose a week. If you lose your data, you're in a world of hurt. Yeah. It's going to cost you a whole lot of money. And so why wouldn't people take the most steps possible to protect the most important thing in their business?
I'll answer that one. They want
Yeah.
it free. I mean, why do they want to buy a business class antivirus if they can get a crappy one for free? Because you get what you pay for, which is my final question. How much should a dentist expect to pay for some service like this? So if someone calls you, and by the way, how do they contact you? You're at Sagester.com and
Sagester.com.
And Sagester, just think of Sage, S-A-G-E, Ster, S-T-E-R, so Sagester.com. So if someone went to Sagester.com and got what you recommended, what would this cost a month?
In fact, if you go to Sagester.com/cyber, C-Y-B-E-R, it's got these 8 steps. These 8 protections. We charge $297 a month, all included, and we monitor it. So it's not just we install it and say, there you go, we'll see you later. We're always watching problems. We get a level of constant protection on the office. There's a sign-up sheet, information right on the website.
All right. Well, it was an honor to have you come on and depress everybody about how bad their situation is. Did you have anything cheery to say?
Well, it's a good thing. Yes, it's getting more complex, and yes, if you look at it in one way, it can be depressing, but help is out there. Technology is helping us. Technology is advancing how well we can do dentistry, how quickly we can do dentistry. It's just with everything that's good, there's going to be a bad side to it. So it's not that technology is not a bad thing, or it's not that technology is a bad thing. You just have to take the precautions with it. But it really is. I mean, look at the innovations that the dental industry and every industry has had over the years. So it's a good thing. On the bright side, you just got to take the protections into place.
And lastly, on that thread that everybody's talking about, 2 dentists are there are saying, "See, I told you so." They stuck with their paper charts and they still haven't computerized. Do you think, in a weird kind of way, that the people who stayed back and didn't go the computer route and all that and kept the paper chart and the snail mail U.S. Postal Service, you think in the end they're going to be the smart ones?
No, I wouldn't. The new technology allows doctors to find things that, find problems that the old technology wouldn't. The newer technology, the advancements in technology, it improves dental. It improves the care that a patient receives. So, sorry guys, I just don't agree with you. That I understand staying with paper. I don't have to worry about cybersecurity, but are you giving your patients the best care possible that way?
And you say you're mostly in Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. I mean, what if someone's listening to you and they live in Kansas? I mean, do you like to stay in your area, or how's that work?
I've consulted with offices. In the cybersecurity side of things, we can do it anywhere. Okay, like our cybersecurity package, I can do anywhere. And I have a number of different partners. We can handle an office support across the nation. In some cases, I have partners that can be our hands if we need to go on site. But and this is beyond even just the cybersecurity, if we do the total support, we keep an eye on the system all the time. We do 80-90% of it remotely, and then the other 10%, I have partners that can be our hands. So it's possible we can bring on an office pretty much anywhere, and they'll get a level of protection and a level of security and efficiency that you just don't see from the companies that don't know dental.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Fred. It was great seeing you at Louisville. I love that convention. I love that river. God, that place is just beautiful. Just loved everything about it. And it was fun watching you freak out that girl where you knew everything about her. But come on, guys, you got to do this because, my God, what a horrible Monday morning for 400 dentists to walk into work and have ransomware on lockdown and thought they were doing everything right. And you said 30% don't even use encrypted emails. So you gotta raise your bar, guys. Raise your bar, and that cybersecurity, the basics of dental office cybersecurity.
Yep, and it makes you, the offices that are that came in and had that ransomware. Do you think $297 a month, if they'd have thought back, it's only $297 a month, and I'd have been secure? Was it worth it then? So you don't want to come in and have it happen after the fact and go, oh, I should have done it. Get that security. We just don't see it in the dental industry, and you need it.
Yes. All right, buddy. Thanks again. Thanks for coming on the show.